All right, I'm not sure if you are actually seeing the very nice animation I tried to put together, but if not, then the kind of cover theme of our webinar is actually house of cards. And very often, marketing is quite complex system, and it's like a house of cards. Like you pull out one element, and quite possibly it can collapse. And today we will talk of how to convert this seemingly unstable system of house of cards into something super stable, like perhaps Egyptian pyramid that can stand for thousands of years, and just nothing seems to happen to it. And actually, research which was published a while ago by Google and Boston Consulting Group actually found very clearly that companies which are actually more mature, more excellent in their marketing, they are actually having 30% less cost, and at the same time they have 20% more revenue. So, and I think this is a great example illustrating what is the impact of reaching higher maturity in marketing. That it's not only nice thing to have, but it also helps you drive business performance, helps you contribute to profit, and so on. Now, if we look...
But without this, I think, study, we all already have realized how important marketing is in today's digital world. And it's hard.
Yes, absolutely. And let me give you a very practical example of how actually marketing impacts business results. Let's look at a very simple number. So let's take an example of technology company selling in B2B. The average deal size for them is 20,000 euros. So that's quite sizable deal, and the marketing budget is half of that, basically 10,000 euros. So, and today, if we look at their pipeline and their conversion rates, then the picture is following. And here I will try to explain. So I hope you'll be able to follow. So first of all, this example is simplified, and all that company is doing, it is basically paying for clicks. So, for example, using Google CPC ads or something. So, and it turns out that company is paying on average 2 euros per click, which in turn means that that their advertising efforts are bringing 5,000 of visitors to their website, right? And if you multiply 5,000 by 2, you get their marketing budget. Currently, their conversion rate stands at 4%. So 4% of visitors sign up for an offer on the website, right? And it means that it gets them 200 leads. And we also know that 10% of those leads are converting. So when sales are talking with those people registered for, let's say, marketing content or something, they can close 20 deals, and knowing the average deal, we get a total revenue of 400,000 euros. Now, what happens if we introduce certain changes and we just slightly try to improve their marketing? So let's take a look at situation 2. So what we have done here, and what is the change that happens? So cost per click has changed, and basically cost per click has decreased from 2 euros to 1.8 euros. So, and as a result, because costs become cheaper and they are using the same budget, they got higher number of visitors. And keeping conversion rate the same, they got respectively higher number of leads, and sales are doing exactly the same. They are able to close 10% of those deals. So suddenly, just because of this change, just because we could make cost per click a bit cheaper by 10%, we suddenly are able to provide extra 44,000 euro revenue for the company just by doing this small change. Now let's take a look at another example. So we keep the change we introduced in situation 2 already, and we add another thing. So here we are changing conversion rate. So conversion rate was 4%. Now because of better alignment, better marketing, we managed to increase conversion rate by 0.5 percentage point, and now conversion rate is 4.5%, right? So just again, counting the results, looking at what we get at the end, we get increased number of leads. Sales are closing 10% of them. So as a result, we have 25 deals, or total revenue increases to 500,000 euro. And the result is that just by improving marketing, we managed to generate 100 20,000 euros extra with the same budget, with basically everything kept the same. So, and the point of this slide is that, even seemingly small changes in marketing pipeline allows to generate huge business results. And this basically illustrates why it's necessary to do marketing audit, because that is how you can discover certain shortcomings, how you can get recommendation, and how you can ultimately improve results and the impact of your marketing. All right, I think Andres may have some connection at this moment. No worries.
Yes.
I look forward to get him back. But now, if we look at marketing, what today's marketing consists of, and if we look at marketing, then basically we can construct it as something like consisting of building blocks, and there are foundations. So, for example, a foundation for marketing strategy is research and analysis, because you can only prepare good strategy if it's based on marketplace realities. You have researched market, competition, buyers, etc. And similarly, you can execute activities well only if you have good organizational alignment. If marketing is collaborating with sales, with product, with other units, if there's executive support, and so on. And then in terms of what typically B2B marketing does, or what are activities or results of its work is that marketing typically produces content, marketing uses technology and automation, analytics, does quite a bit of optimization work, and also is involved in a bit in sales management, right? And the nature of it being a system means that actually to get really good results, you need to have strong performance in each of those elements. Because if you have issues even with one element, it pulls down the results of your whole marketing system. So let's take a look at example. What happens if there is a problem with organizational alignment? So meaning marketing and sales are not working together. There are perhaps insufficient executive support for this collaboration, and so on. So it means that when planning strategy, probably marketing is missing input from sales or from product. This also means that if there is friction between departments, there cannot be really good execution, right? So what else it means? And if strategy is insufficient, then probably it has negative impact on content. Probably it's much more difficult to optimize demand generation. And at the end of the day, if execution is poor, then probably it has also impact on sales management. And as a result, these elements are working not optimally, right? And the results of the whole system of your marketing is actually negative. You cannot get a positive return on investment from marketing if you can any. Nobody knows where the money goes. Management is unhappy. Marketing team is not really happy, right? And system just doesn't work. And you would be surprised in how many companies actually we see deficiencies and problems with the system. And actually, our job together with Andres very often is to help companies fix this system and help companies implement change, which helps them actually to align this system and make it work quite well. Now, if we look at marketing audits, and if we just try to step in shoes of CEO or CMO, right, and if we look at what are benefits of marketing audit, right, then if we first look at CEO, I would say it's quite clearly for CEO, the first benefit is performance improvement, right? Second thing is basically a task list of areas for improvement, and also identification of CEO level of issues. Things like problems with organizational alignment, perhaps missing some capabilities, maybe inadequate level of investment. Maybe company is investing too much in marketing, maybe too little, right? And also it can bring attention to issue of executive sponsorship, right? Because again, modern marketing can do wonders, but it's quite complex system, and it can only flourish if it has strong executive sponsorship and support from the very top of organization. And quite often, and I will also show it in examples, quite often, benefit is also instant savings. Just stopping, let's say, paying for technologies you do not use, or just stop pouring money in advertising campaigns which obviously do not work, or perhaps cannot work altogether. Now, if we look for CMO, Chief Marketing Officer, benefits for them is what? First of all, it's measurement and I'd say also benchmarking of marketing performance. It's identification of gaps, recommendations for improvement, right? Because the way we do audit, it always comes with practical recommendations, and it's also learnings, right? Because after audit, we do not only say, let's say, what needs to be done, but quite often also we give very practical advices of how to do it or what simple changes can improve situation. And from my perspective, I also think that for CMOs, marketing audit is a great tool because it allows to capture attention of management and make a case for organizational changes, right? Because again, organizational alignment, budgets, support from sales, from product unit, and so on are very important things for marketing to be able to really be successful and bring positive impact to companies. Now, let's take a look at audit methods or how audit is performed. And basically, it's performed in two ways. And one is interviews. So this means we conduct interviews to basically get a sense of how things are done in company regarding internal processes and priorities. And typically, it makes sense to talk with three rows of people. So one being management, right? Ideally, a person to whom both sales and marketing are reporting, right? Then somebody from sales, not necessarily sales director, but somebody from sales who have been around long enough and who knows how things are going. And then obviously marketing. Again, it can be marketing, let's say CMO, marketing manager, or it can be just an employee who's been long enough around so that she or he knows how things are done. And the second thing is reviews, like reviews of available materials, planning documents, and also tools. For example, if in the scope of audit comes, let's say, paid advertising campaigns, obviously we log into tools and check the setup, check if conversions are set up right, and so on. And of course, other things like website content, social networks, technology setup and use, and things like that. Now I hope I have captured your attention enough to have, a privilege a bit talking about us. What do we do at IBD Consulting? So we are specialized in one thing only. We help technology companies in B2B markets plan growth, implement modern marketing, and also run demand generation campaigns. And so far, we have delivered over 200 campaigns, basically all across the world. And among our customers are names such as Microsoft Corporation, Also Holding, Citrix Systems, Primex, Qualio, Intragen, Hepta Airborne, and many others. So, and today's speakers, let me see if Andres is back. I'm not sure, but anyway, I will introduce Andres. Andres is my business partner. We are in this business for 7 years, and Andres is a strategist, and Andres is very strong with marketing technologies. He has spent, like I think, over 20 years in different technology marketing, product management, sales roles in technology companies like Microsoft, like Nokia, like La Telecom, and many others, right? And he was actually a guy who was responsible for introduction of a Microsoft Office 365 as a software as a service offering when that was not a thing at all, like I think some 11 years ago in region of some 24, if memory serves, country. And then myself, that's me, Roland. I'm business growth strategist, and like Andres, I have spent most of my life working with technology companies and managing business development, marketing, sales. So also I know personally very well what does it mean to personal sell products, right? So, and we help companies with modern marketing to be able to sell more, get more revenue, and so on. All right, but let's then go to the next level and let's discuss specifically what is there to audit in each building blocks of this picture that I introduced earlier. So, and let's start with strategy. So, if we talk about go-to-market strategy, I would say that we have worked quite a lot for many years on helping companies to review and also to plan go-to-market strategy. And ultimately, we have developed our own GTM strategy planning framework consisting of 10 plus 2 elements. So I will not list all the elements now on the screen, right? But important things is that, as mentioned earlier, for sound GTM strategy to be in place, you need to base it on market reality. So you need to do competitors research, you need to do buyers research, buyers interviews, and once you have done that, you are ready to plan the go-to-market strategy. Now, for those who want to learn more about go-to-market strategy, we have a 90 minutes dedicated webinar for that. And here's a link to our YouTube channel. So there's plenty of webinars. So I very much recommend you go over there, subscribe, and make sure you do not miss content like this recording of today's webinar or webinar about strategy or automation and other things that we have over there. So when we are looking and when we are reviewing strategy, so some questions we ask as a part of audit. Well, first of all is whether market research is in place, how you done buyers interviews, how you done competition analysis. Has strategy been discussed in a broader team, which includes also, sales, perhaps product? Is strategy documented? Is it regularly reviewed and refreshed? Are all 10 elements that we looked on previous slide covered, right? Are marketing objectives and resources aligned, right? Because we have seen from time to time that sometimes, and more often than not, companies have less resources than what can be achievable, less resources than would require, than company would require to achieve its goals, right? It's very important to have it aligned, and also whether objectives are realistic. Because again, we see it again and again that companies have temptation to really have very high growth targets or other objectives which are just impossible to reach, right? And if something is impossible, of course, that doesn't serve as a good motivation for everyone involved. Next one is content, right? And if we look at content creation and content management, right, from our side, probably this slide summarizes learnings the best, right? So there is a certain process how to create marketing content, and obviously it has to be based on go-to-market strategy, on elements such as buyer's persona, understanding of stage of buyer's journey, ideal customer profile, engagement strategy, and so on, right? And once that is clear, so basically when you have answers to why, right, then you can move to the next stage and prepare key messages. And that is part how, right? So it should be a structure and key arguments that you want to make. And once that's clear, you can move to third stage, which is basically research. So you need to find facts, figures, references, quotes to back up your structure, back up your key arguments so that is credible. And once you have it, content development becomes very easy, and you can either develop content internally, or you can have somebody on the outside which you can brief very easily, and content production becomes really a possible and doable thing. So if we talk about content, typically we look into what? We look whether content covers actually all the buyer's journey. Or maybe sometimes companies have too much content early in buyer's journey and almost nothing at the end. Then we also look, are there any obvious buyer's questions which have been left unanswered? Basically, important questions that don't have marketing cover with content which provides answers to these questions. Is content reused and distributed sufficiently? And this basically content reuse and distribution is extremely powerful way to turn, let's say, one piece of content into many different pieces. That is often underutilized. And finally, is the content preparation process efficient, right? And what we see quite often is that this process is deeply flawed, because, and the most common mistake is that for some reason companies are asking too broad internal feedback about content they are producing. And then at the end of the day, everybody has opinions are conflicting, and it's quite difficult to get going and get something approved and published. And just preparing a webinar perhaps may take, months, although it's doable, let's say, in a couple of weeks. Next question is about technologies and marketing automation. And, again, we have worked like for 7 years with B2B marketing, demand generation campaign. And from our perspective, there's a clear set of technologies which needs to be in place and how to use it, right? Obviously, you would need things like CRM. You would need some system to manage your content, CMS. Then there comes marketing automation and the rest of tools like analytics and dashboards, sales enablement tools, intelligence, and so on. And again, here some questions that we look into are: is automation used? And again, we look at it in context, because not all businesses need automation. But if they do, is automation used? Is automation integrated with CRM? Is automation properly configured? Right? Because that's very often that's a problem we very often see, even from large companies, that marketing automation is not properly configured, and emails from marketing automation actually go into spam. So that may be a big problem. And finally, we look whether companies use that technologies to full potential. Because, you know, marketing technologies are nice things. They can help get things done. But after a while, you may figure that you are paying, let's say, thousands per month on different bunch of, you know, marketing technologies. But are you really using them to their potential? Does it make sense to pay for them? Right? So that's, again, something that we look into. And regarding marketing automation, we also this spring had a great webinar. It was mostly Andres presenting, and we talked about how to use what is marketing automation and how to use it to automate marketing and sales tasks and so on. So I highly recommend go and check this recording on our YouTube channel. Now let's take a look at marketing analytics. And marketing analytics is extremely important part of picture, because that is a technology and processes that allows to figure out what's going on and what to do next, right? So, and key things, if you look at marketing analytics in B2B companies, is ability to be able to track and control marketing pipeline, right? And here on the slide is a sample view of marketing pipeline. And as you can see, it looks somewhat similar to what sales pipeline looks like, right? But marketing pipeline basically is something that should be before sales pipeline, right? And as we see here, we are tracking what we are tracking. We are tracking prospects, basically people who register for something. We are tracking leads. Then we have a separate line for marketing qualified leads, then sales qualified leads, and also on the right side there's possibility to manually disqualify certain contacts, put them on hold or unsubscribe, right? Again, I will not go too deep into this, but I would say that from analytics perspective, it's extremely useful information for marketing to know how things are going with marketing pipeline and whether marketing is capable to produce qualified leads for sales. The next thing, which also is quite useful, and again, there are two ways. Obviously, you can use technology and you can produce such single view dashboards of marketing activities as on the screen. Or actually, if you are a smaller company, you can also gather the same information from time to time manually, right? So it's not necessary that in all cases you will need to use technology, but all in all, for reviews, you need to have information like that on the screen. Now, what do we see here? If we look from the top left, then we have audience overview. Basically, that's the data showing how many visitors we have had to our marketing assets, such as, let's say, campaign landing pages. Then below that, we have information about how advertising is working on LinkedIn and on Facebook, how many impressions we have, how many clicks, what's the average click-through rate, how much a click costs, and how much we have spent, right? And then we have a funnel information. So, for example, in this case, we see how many people registered for a guide, how many registered for a webinar, how many actually showed up and attended the webinar, and how many have booked a call, right? So that gives a good overview of how, you know, how this demand generation campaign is going. And then on the right side, we have pipeline, right? And we see how many prospects we have, how many marketing qualified leads, and how many sales leads. And respectively, we have also other information such as split between channels, where basically how many visitors are coming to which channel. And also we have statistics regarding cost per lead. And as we see here, over time, cost per lead for this campaign has been dramatically reduced. So it means marketing is working quite well, and everybody in the company knows what's going on and where the money is going. Now, if we look at analytics, and if we are doing audit, so some questions we look into and we try to understand is if marketing pipeline information is available at all, if integrated marketing analytics is available. And by integrated, I mean similar like I showed on the previous slide, basically analytics that allows you to have a single view which informs you about what happens over multiple channels, let's say on LinkedIn, Google, Facebook, and so on. Then also important question is whether marketing is sharing the part of analytics which is relevant to sales with sales. So what are, let's say, analytics which may be important for sales? For example, sales would benefit from knowing if any of their contacts they are working with have showed some extra interest, let's say, visited website, downloaded case studies, maybe commented something on socials, and so on. And finally, we would also be interested to learn if analytics is sufficiently used in decision-making or in reviews. So if you have a review meeting, are you pulling up the data? Is data available? Are you making decisions based on data that you see? Next part is optimization, and optimization deals of how to optimize it, how to get it working. And here we look at questions like is sales feedback actually included in optimization decisions? So are there meetings with sales? Do sales have possibility to comment on quality of leads? Right? Are paid campaigns properly set up? And here we have seen lots of different things, and this is an area where quite often quite a lot of very costly mistakes happen. Is website or landing page optimized? Is it fast enough? Right? And you wouldn't believe how often companies have a problem with campaign performance because their website or their landing pages just load forever. Right? And obviously, if a user clicks on ad, if they follow to landing page and it takes 10 seconds to load, average user just doesn't have attention like that. They just go forward and do whatever they're set to do. And finally, we also look if marketing is measuring its impact on sales pipeline specifically, right? So going beyond just measuring and being happy about landing new lead, but looking whether those leads are actually qualified by sales and whether these leads turn into opportunities. Because the purpose of marketing or demand generation is not just generate a bunch of new contacts, but make sure these are the right people who have at least some intent to purchase, right? And the best way to actually analyze and understand whether marketing is succeeded in doing that is to look what's the conversion rate between marketing qualified lead and, let's say, sales qualified lead, or marketing qualified lead and actual opportunity. And the next block we are looking at is sales management. And perhaps some of you may ask what marketing has to do with sales. My answer would be marketing has everything to do with sales, because for company to flourish, marketing and sales and product have to work very, very tightly and very well together, right? And the central question in reaching marketing and sales alignment is actually, I guess, quite basic for some and quite difficult for others. But what is super important is to have a clear agreement between marketing and sales. How do we define lead, and how do we define different pipeline stages, right? And here is just just an example, right? In reality, companies may want to use more stricter criteria, but let's look at this example. So in this example, lead is defined as anyone who engaged with gated content. So anyone who filled in the form, let's say, to sign up for a webinar or white paper or whatever. Then a marketing qualified lead, it already has an extra set of criteria. So it needs to meet the demographic and firmographic criteria, meaning these people must belong to certain age group, certain position, and they need to work in certain companies, probably based on company's industry, company size, maybe other criteria. Then sales qualified lead is somebody who has been contacted by sales and has been qualified by sales rep, basically sales development representative. An opportunity, so a deal becomes opportunity if it's accepted by account manager and it's ready to be worked with as a serious opportunity, right? So this is example. At your companies, most likely these definitions are different, and I would say that each company would benefit from customizing these definitions in a way that fits their business. But what is important? It's important to generally have this kind of discussion, have very clear definitions and clear alignment between marketing and sales, so that whenever marketing says that they have generated marketing qualified leads, it's 100% clear for sales what actually they are talking about and what criteria this lead fits to. All right, and if we are auditing sales management part, then some questions we are looking into it is, first of all, is there really agreed upon lead definition? Is everyone speaking the same language regarding the phases, deals or contacts travel through marketing and sales pipeline? Is there a proper lead handover process, right? So how does sales know when there is new marketing qualified lead generated? Do they have notification in their CRM? Do they get a phone call from marketing, or how exactly it happens? And again, we also look if marketing is getting feedback from sales, and actually whether sales is getting feedback from marketing, so that their both efforts complement each other and lead to improved marketing and sales combined performance. And then next one, what we are looking at is execution, and execution very much is based on organizational alignment. So how well different parts are actually working together. If we look at organizational capabilities, then actually there's really a bunch of things as capabilities that organizations need to have to really excel with marketing. So they need to be able to create the content. They need to be able to set up and design website. They need to be able to optimize content for search engine optimization. They need to know social media marketing, email marketing, marketing sales automation, and so on and so on. So actually there are quite a huge demand in terms of capabilities, skills, and know-how put on the marketing team. And obviously this list, first of all, is not complete. And second, and most important, is that this list shouldn't be seen as something that marketing team must be able to handle internally. Not at all. But what marketing team need to be able to do, need to be able to actually have this capability either internally or to be available from somebody from outside, right? And the role of marketing actually is not so much, to be master of every trade, but to be able to provide the company with necessary competencies and services, of which some are internal and some are purchased from market, from, let's say, freelancers, specialized agencies, consultants, and so on, right? And here we are looking if organization have some way to have respective capability. For example, if we look at search engine optimization, we ask, okay, what about capabilities? Are you able to do it? Most companies would say, no, we really are not, but here we have a freelancer who's helping us with that. And similarly with analytics, are you able to prepare reports? Well, we are not, but we have a very good freelancer who from time to time prepares templates for us, and then we are using it. That's about capabilities. And another thing I want to point out at this point is that we discussed quite a lot of building blocks of marketing team or marketing engine, right? And one thing that actually research shows, and also we see every day, that what companies is really struggling with is marketing and sales alignment. Basically having these two teams in company productively working together, right? And last year there was a research, right? And participants were asked questions what they think would be critical factors to drive their business growth this year. And actually, the top place was improving marketing and sales alignment, right? And I would say that there's also a good chance that this marketing and sales alignment may be improved also in your company, because everybody's struggling with that. And I would say that if you just, take away one thing from this presentation, or if you're able just to do one thing, then I would very much recommend to invest in making sure that marketing and sales are aligned. And to achieve this alignment, actually, you need very strong support from the top, from the management of your company, who helps teams to come together, establish joint routines like deal review meetings, who can introduce different incentive schemas, for example, starting incentivize marketing team for their impact on sales pipeline, and so on. Another important thing is also to, in terms of aligning marketing and sales, is everything related to joint sales and marketing pipeline. And here actually is a like visual depiction of this process. And typically best practice is that in companies, marketing is taking care of generating leads and qualifying leads to marketing qualified lead stage. And at that point, leads are handed over to sales. And typically there are sales development representative, or let's say we can call that junior sales guy, who does qualification, basically does a bit of research on the contact, let's say does a follow-up call and qualifies whether this lead is qualified to be handed over to senior sales manager, who's often also called account executive, right? So there's a bit of division of labor that SDR is making frequent calls, trying to qualify a lot of possible leads, and then senior sales guy is working on already qualified leads on opportunity stage, and so on. All right, and another thing, if we look at marketing and sales alignment, is marketing and sales routines, right? So again, this can be different in different companies, but the way we see it is that there should be certain routines starting from planning campaigns, and both teams do joint planning, pipeline forecasts, budgeting, agree about definitions of lead, and get their plan approved by management. Then there must be weekly reviews, which look more on operative level, on the quality of incoming leads, think about changes, experiments, and so on. And of course, monthly reviews, where company campaign is analyzed, sales are able to give feedback about insights from conversations they have had with leads, and other things are discussed. And if you look at organizational alignment, then we would look to understand the following question. And first of all, and most important, is there enough executive support for organizational alignment? Because if that is not in place, it's very rarely that marketing and sales, make friends or close relationship on their own. There must be support for that. Are there joint marketing planning? Are sales using marketing content? Is marketing incentivized by sales performance? Actually, right? That's very important question, because obviously, if you want marketing to generate new business, to help your sales fill their pipeline, it's also a good idea, to pay bonuses to that team. And also we look if marketing content review process is reasonable, and so on. So that's basically how what are we looking at in audit process. Now let me quickly share 3 examples of what's the impact of audit. So first example is IT service company, right? So, and the situation was that generally there was agreement internally that marketing doesn't work, and nobody was happy, not marketing, not sales, nobody. conversion rates were very, very low, and actually there was no real marketing impact on business. When we looked into why is that the case, we found out that there is no actionable marketing plan. Actually, there was a marketing plan which was discussing 4 Ps and whatnot, but it missed objectives, it missed metrics, it missed the whole concept of buyer's journey, positioning, buyer's personas, and many more. Right? Then we also found out that their Google CPC campaign is optimized for low intent keywords. The website was terribly slow, so that was part of explanation why conversions doesn't happen, and so on. And as a result, what was changed? So simple and actionable marketing plan was put in place. Marketing was narrowed down on specific list of companies who can be a buyer for their offering. Then webinars with marketing automation and the extensive content reuse were used. And content reuse in terms of webinars means that you cut webinar in small chapters and you publish them separately. So you have lots of content to publish, right? Then, of course, their Google campaigns were reviewed, and also they invested in website speed improvements, right? So, and that helped them elevate marketing performance and suddenly have a feeling that marketing is actually working. Another example, international tech company working globally, and scope of audit was Google Ads. So one thing only, right? And situation was the following. There were no results from campaign. They spent over 1,500 euros per month. And if we looked into what causes that, then the big reason was that actually this company had very limited know-how of how to run Google campaigns, right? And out of that came other issues, such as audience was not limited by age. They were attracting quite a lot of youngsters and also people of senior age. They were not differentiating between geographies, so they had quite a lot of clicks from India. Conversions were not set up, and so on. And the change they were able to achieve. First of all, they stopped campaigns because that was just wasting money. Then they listed necessary improvements in place. For them, it was clear what they need to do in terms of training, what they need to learn. And they were also considering outsourcing Google campaigns to competent third party altogether. And third example, international company working in fintech space. So for them, the main thing was a question from marketing management. Are we doing things right? Or are we doing the right things, right? And generally, they had limited marketing impact. And they had also internal uncertainty about marketing priorities. So what should we really do? They didn't have problem of team. They didn't have problem of budget. But they were uncertain, all right, what do we need to do, right? And when we investigated the whole thing, they also had low conversions. They had low focus on buyers' specific needs, if you look by different industries and geos. They didn't have internally agreed lead qualification criteria, so it made it difficult for marketing to help sales with leads because they simply didn't have good idea, all right, what do you guys in sales really need? There were content gaps in terms of buyer's journey, and so on. And we provided them with a list of recommendations, right? And for them, it was very clear where to focus. So as a result, they hired external SEO agency. They also improved the collaboration with sales, and they improved the focus of marketing content, trying to answer specific needs in specific regions or specific industries. And now, as we are coming to final stage of this webinar, let me just talk a bit of outcomes of audit, or what you get in terms of audit. So first of all, you get assessment of your current capabilities, so you know where you stand, or what are the issues, or what are the shortcomings of your team, and also you get practical recommendations. Basically, answer, okay, what we need to do, what new training we need to do, where we perhaps need to consider hiring external help. Maybe what we need to do internally, maybe get more executive support, maybe our budget is totally inadequate for the goals that management is expecting from us, and so on. And this helps with what? In quite a lot of cases, particularly if companies already have a quite significant budget, it very often leads to immediate savings because companies can just stop activities which are not generating results and which are unlikely to ever generate any result, right? Second thing, you basically get a roadmap, get understanding of what are, let's say, skill or training needs of your team, right? Then you get a good idea of what would be recommended changes of internal processes, right? And mostly it relates to things such as content creation or internal alignment with other stakeholders. Then quite often it means that marketing plan needs to be also adjusted, and sometimes maybe even business plan needs some adjustments just to fit with the reality of what the situation actually is. All right, so that is about that is almost the last slide. Here's one more, and I would also invite you to write questions in chat. I would be more than happy to answer them. But let me now pitch to you the next steps. So basically, what me and Andres, what we are offering you to do. So first of all, we have one special announcement. We have prepared a marketing maturity self-assessment. So basically, that's an online tool where you will be able to go and answer, let's say, maybe 20, 25 questions, and you will get a sense where you stand in different areas. For example, how does your organizational capability look? What's the situation with your strategic approach, marketing content, customer data, performance management, marketing technologies? So this is a great handy tool for you to basically figure out whether we have a problem that's worth solving, whether it makes sense to book a call with Andres and Rolands and discuss how you guys can help us with audit, right? So that's the first step. You will get links to these assessments over email, and you will get it in most likely tomorrow or later today. But I would say probably tomorrow. If for some reason you don't get this email, just ping myself or Andres, find us on LinkedIn, and we'll help you to get this assessment. If you're watching this video recording, in description there's link to assessment as well. So the second thing, obviously, myself and Andres, we would invite you to just go to our website and book a time for a call with us. Let's discuss your situation and let's see if audit is the right thing you need and if we can help you with that. And number three, I would say quite simply, just as Nike always says it, just do it. Let's guys just do it. All right, let me switch back to the webinar view, and let me see if we have any questions to answer. I would be more than happy to do it. Andrea, thank you very much. I'm so happy you asked the question. So Andrea is asking how to prioritize all the actions in a young company, especially first-year startups. So let me give you 2 points. And first of all, is I would say that the answer is very much context dependent. Where are you with your product? Is it available? Are you still developing it? And so on. And second part of my answer would be that even if you are a very young company, it would make every sense for you to try already in the stage you are, try to build an audience, try to build the followers. So what do I mean by that? I mean that probably yourself and other people on management team should post things on LinkedIn and invite people to join their network, because as a result, basically you have a direct channel to their newsfeed on LinkedIn, right? So you can keep those people up to date about your company progress, about any developments you have, and it means you also build audience, right? And when you will have your product ready, you will have already fans and people who are cheering for you, who are informed about you, and you will have a ready demand. We talked quite a bit about that in one of our, actually in our previous webinar, where we talked about how to sell to technical buyers. In that webinar, there's a chapter where we talk about how to build an audience. So that would be my recommendation for you to look at it. And my feeling is that you would benefit from building audience on your LinkedIn or for your newsletter and so on. All right, and I think we don't have any more incoming questions, but Andrea, you're warming my heart because you asked the question. I'm very glad about you. So then what? Thank you very much for everyone participating, and see you next time around. And let me and Andres know if we can help you with improving your marketing. Bye.